think sometimes the value out of a planner is also in terms of like spending the same amount, but you can get something better because you know what to use or like where to get the materials, etc. Right? So
yeah, I think so. But I mean, I think that, I feel very proud of Spellbound because I know that we don't know the charge. I know the exact costing of a lot of things, even though I may not be a videographer, a photographer, or a gown designer, because I am educated in all these things. I enjoy doing all these things, and I have seen the behind the scenes work. I have seen the gown people, so I can not defend the gown company, but I understand the amount of work that they do, and they must make profit and so forth. So, for Spellbound, I just feel that when a client, if a client has a budget and they come to me and they tell me that this is the amount of money they want to spend, can you maximize it for me? I would tell them that I will help to prioritize what is important to you.
right.
I know that if you spend this, and it's also a preference, Peiru. I know I sometimes don't understand, like for the exact same gown. We talk about gown because I think it's more relative. For the exact same gown and the same gown, just because a designer is overseas, has a stamp name, and a local designer do exactly the same thing, exactly the same material.
It could be a lot more expensive.
Exactly, just because it is the value, it is the name. So then it is up to you. I mean, if you want me to maximize, I will tell you, take the local, and you're supporting local. You have the designer fitting you properly and everything. So that is value to me. But maybe for the couple, this is not value for them because they want the name. So it's very, subjective. So usually that's why I say, even if a couple want to book me, they may not have seen me, but they say, Anna, we want to confirm you. I would insist that you come and see me. Just like couples sometimes say, oh, Anna, no, we trust you. You just book this photographer. They never met the photographer. I would insist that they meet the photographer. I would tell them that don't tell me you don't even have 1 hour of your time.
Don't take chances, right?
I don't want to. I would tell them, please meet the photographer. Just 1 hour before you confirm. Just meet. Just talk. Because I may think that they're very good, but for some reason you may not like them, And I know that all my photographers, friend or videographer, they don't want to shoot for people that don't like their style. Even if you pay them.
So they wouldn't like people who give them a certain picture and please copy it.
Yeah, or something like that. Because everyone, I think in our line of business and, the people that I work with, I think we all have artistic integrity lah. I think when we are already in this stage, to us, actually sometimes integrity matters more than money. You can't buy us off. We would rather not do it for you. I believe the vendors that I support.
So it's not as recommended, right, for couples to just bring pictures of other weddings or other couples to professionals and say, can you just copy this, right? Because it's not.
It is unlikely. Okay, I can't speak for others, but I know personally for me, if someone gives me a design and say, Anna, can you do this? And I probably, we are talking about aesthetics, huh? I probably would know who the florist was because we all have different style. And I most likely, especially if it's like sketches and all those things, I probably would say, no, I won't do the same thing. I may do something that is similar, but I will not do exactly the same thing because I respect the other person. I certainly respect the other person because how would I feel if a couple took my design and then go and ask someone else to do it? I always feel that a wedding is when two families go in as one. And I always feel that if you can't even agree, you can't compromise, then, and if you start your wedding, you don't have to have a big wedding. Some couples book us maybe just for the planning. They want to make sure everything is good and so forth. They may not want to spend a lot on decor. That is perfectly fine with me. I always tell my couple, yeah, of course you see our Instagram or Facebook, the wedding looks really big, But of course I have to show those because it is visual. But we also have done wedding whereby our client zero in upgrading. It is fine with me. You don't have to spend, and it could be the most wonderful wedding. We did a wedding, I still remember about 6 years ago. It was such a small wedding in Burkill Hall, and they spent less than 3,000 on decor. But it was the most wonderful wedding. They only had about 100 people. The cakes was baked by their friends that flew in from Sydney, so she baked a few cakes, and it was the best wedding. You know?
Wow.
And overall, they only spent 3,000 on decor. In fact, I even gave them a surprise and gave them a wall of balloons because I just feel, you cannot like, this one is very nice, really, really, really nice. I paid out of my pocket to give it to them, you know, because it's not that they cannot afford, they just didn't want to spend that much.
Right.
But I felt that it's really important to have this. So I did it for them and they were so happy. So,
Right.
you know, I always tell and I think that most of the clients that we handle are clients that are really genuine.
That was what I was about to ask you. So how can a couple best work with a planner to get the most out of it? I mean, the whole experience. I mean, not maybe just squeezing for stuff.
I think you have to trust the planner. And I think very important, you have to get the right planner. You know, again, like I say, you know, if the first thing you ask me is that if I can get any discount or so forth, you know, unlikely that I will be the best planner for you, then your journey with me will be very unpleasant because I can't. I won't, and I can't. It's a personality. I'm not a negotiator in that kind of thing.
Okay.
I can't do, but there are other planners they can do it very well, you know, and kudos to them. And they can do it very well, and they probably will work best with that kind of planner.
So trust is the most important thing.
Trust is the most important thing. For me and my team, we always feel that yes, you can question us. It doesn't mean that you cannot question us. Of course, it is your wedding. You know, it is your wedding. You know, you can question us. Of course, by all means, question us. But I think that if you don't trust us, then that is the issue. And that is also why I emphasize that for us, we don't want the client to book us without meeting us, without us knowing the client, what they want, you know, what is their level of expectations, what is their budget idea.
Right.
So a lot of times couple will come to us and then they'll tell us that, they have no budget or they don't know how much the budget is. Then I will tell them that you always will have an idea, right? Because then if they say that, no, Anna, we really don't know because it's the first time. Then I say, yeah, that's fine. Then I will tell you, a photographer, 5,000. Then I go, wow, so expensive. Then I say, see, your level of budget is there already, ma. So which means that you will not spend 5K on a photographer. Then I say, how does 2,000 sound? They say, yeah, pretty. Okay, then I say, your level is 2,000, no?
So when people say they don't have a budget, it really means that they kind of have, but they are
they
not
can't
sure whether it's
articulate
correct.
exactly.
So you just put out something and see. And
exactly. Like
how they
decor,
feel.
for example, you know, no idea what kind of decor. So I said, how does 10,000 sound to you? They said, wow, so much. Then I said, then obviously your appetite is not 10K already. Then maybe 5,000. Then they say, yeah, probably around there. But they're hesitant. Then I know that maybe they only want to spend 3,000 on the decor.
So in your years of as a wedding planner and you've seen other planners work, right? What are some common mistakes that you see couples making or misconceptions?
I think the first meeting is very important. I think setting up the expectation is very important. I think the budget is very important because we have in the past took over weddings from other planners because maybe the couple claim that, you know, the planner didn't tell them the exact costing or the costing is way higher. And sometimes actually I counsel the couple. I would say that, you know, maybe because the planners don't actually do flowers themselves, so they're reliant on an external, you know, florist, and maybe that's why the florist gave them this amount. Because, you know, they're not sure, because they're not florists. And sometimes I counsel couple who ask us to take over because I say maybe it's not the planner not being sincere, but maybe they just can't. You know, they just don't know yet and they are at the, you know,
mercy of the
exactly
florist.
In that sense. But most of the time they will still want us to take over lah. So I think that's really, to me, that is always the biggest issue, the costing. So that's why for me, when I meet a client, knowing what they want, I will always tell them that this is the budget of what you want. It is zero. I have never gone over budget. I may go under budget, but I will still charge you this. But you have to match your expectations lah. So usually, actually, this is really the main, you know, it's the main thing. Mainly it's always the decor budget, you know, that changes. Or, you know, normally my method is that I will email to you for general things or to remind you. And then I will ask you to acknowledge that you received it. Then after that, the second, you know, urgency is that I will WhatsApp you or text you lah, you know. And then after that, if it's really important, I will call you. So if I call you, that means that
it is
very important.
Really,
please call me back, even if you can't, you know. So I think that's really important because I do not like to disturb people. I think that there's, you know, so at least you know that, you know, when it's important, Anna will make sure that it's important. If it's not important, things that you can decide a week later, you know, but I just send you a reminder.
Right.
So I think that is our way. But some couples, they just feel that because the wedding is about a year, and you can't do things every month. It's just not possible.
Sometimes it happens in a burst of time.
In
right?
a way, but actually it doesn't happen in a burst. What I realize is that a lot of my couples, they want a timeline. And we do it for them.
Most people want a timeline
But actually
too.
they don't follow timeline. They never do.
So what happens in actual fact?
So actual fact, at the back of my mind, we are already steady for this. Like timeline decor actually 3 months beforehand. But it is very unlikely that they will confirm 3 months beforehand. If they do, great. If they don't, then in ourselves, we tell them a month we can do.
But the timeline, I guess, still gives people like
They do.
to
we
feel
still
good
do.
about it.
Yeah, but we still do. We still give them the timeline. But, but couples just don't. And then sometimes, you tell them the important thing they need to focus, but because they don't want to focus, they want to focus on another thing. So, we need to gently stir them back. Like sometimes I would tell my couple, they would say, Anna, but we are not doing anything, it's like, yeah, Then I tell them, but actually you have to decide on your wedding gown. It's important, you have to decide. Then they say, yeah, but I don't really feel like deciding now. Can we do something else? But I will tell them that actually the wedding gown is the most important thing now because you're going to do a pre-wedding in about, Yeah, so things like that. I think there's another, I think wedding planners, I always say this, wedding planners can do corporate events. But
yes.
I think corporate planners cannot do weddings. It is just different.
The emotional part
the
of
gentle.
people.
Yeah, it's just because to them it is a wedding. It's about me. I think even if we have a sense of urgency or whatever, I think the delivery, how we deliver to the clients, we need to be gentle, but we need to also to
Firm
be
and
firm.
gentle. Right, so tell me a little bit more about working with vendors, right? Because some couples might think that, okay, what's the value add of having a wedding planner to deal with the vendors? Why can't I deal with the vendors
You could,
myself?
but vendors also sometimes have quite, vendors also need to know a lot of things. Like for example, if you deal directly with the vendor, then you have to worry about their meals, their logistic, how are they going to shoot, and then the itinerary and all those things. But when you have a planner, we deal with the videographer or the photographer directly on all these things, all right? And then the couple can just talk to the videographer or photographer about the kind of style they want. So they will focus on the pretty things, and we focus on the logistic part with the videographer or photographer. And on the part of the videographer and photographer also, when you have a reliable planner like us, they are working with the couple first time. They have worked with us many times. So usually all these vendors, they also trust Spellbound. They trust when we say, okay, this couple is so and so and so, they need these certain things, they will make an extra effort to, not to be nicer, but I think that they would maybe have a peace of mind.
Because the work is already easier to have the logistics and all that iron out.
Exactly,
clearly.
and they know that, from the point of a vendor point of view, that, they know that, okay, this company, this wedding planning company has a reputation of also like making sure that our needs are also met. We make sure that maybe during the dinner or before the lunch or so forth, that they are adequately rested, that they have enough meals, that they are taken care of. Because I always tell my couple, usually at the end of the dinner or even during the dinner, they will thank Spellbound. But it is actually not just us. It is a collective
team.
effort. Yeah.
Right.
When the makeup artist is happy, when the photographer is happy, when they're not overly tired, like sometimes I look at the schedule and then the couple want everything to be there, and I say that you can't. Because imagine, especially for videographers, they are lugging instruments.
Yeah.
You cannot.
A lot of equipment, right?
Yeah, you cannot. They need to rest. And Singapore is so hot. And so do you. You also need to rest. You're in gowns and you're in suits. You need to rest, you need to hydrate, and maybe the timing is really, really too tight. It is impossible. And they will say, but Anna, we Google Map, and then the journey from our house to the hotel
18
is only,
minutes.
Yeah, but I say you must remember you're in gown.
It takes time.
Yes, gently. I cannot push you. I cannot shove you in.
Right.
So I think, so in terms of, and then like vendors, we will think already, okay, where are they going to go in? Can their assistant, with all the luggage, all the equipments, maybe one car, because sometimes couple would think, oh, okay, there's only two,
But they forget that they come along with a lot of
equipment
luggage.
and
Right.
everything, you know, and you don't want to
Right.
squeeze. So,
Right.
so these are the
yeah.
things. And makeup artists, same thing. Sometimes makeup artists need 1 hour to do the makeup in, like, you know, the second machine, well, which is not possible, because I always share with them that, you know, you cannot make your guests wait. It is very rude. So I would talk to the makeup artist, you know, even before the wedding, I would say that, okay, look, they only have 2 courses. You cannot go beyond. Because, and I would actually talk to my couple. I would tell the bride, you know, I would tell them that, look, if you really want to do this, I don't want in a party whereby, you know, your guests are not happy. They wait and wait and wait and wait for you. This is very
One
rude.
of the pet peeves, right, would be to wait too long.
Yeah, but you see, that's the thing, you know, Peiru. We are very lucky. Our brides are 99.9% very good. They would listen to me. And they want the best for their guests. So they would make sure that their guests don't have to wait. We don't start too late. And everyone is happy.
I think this is probably something that couples will need to understand as well.
Yes,
When the vendors feel like they are well taken care of, they actually perform better as well.
They do lah. And you know, and I think that, you know, I just want to emphasize that, you know, when I just feel that I know that a lot of our clients or potential couples, you know, they are very good in what they do, their own profession and everything. It is just like if they are a lawyer, you know, if I hire a very good lawyer, I wouldn't second guess the lawyer.
You have to trust that the lawyer will be
Precisely,
able to do
because
the
I
best
pay
job.
you this amount of money, you better do something good for me. I don't know anything about the legal or the doctor or the accounting. I expect my accountant to help me. Likewise with a wedding planner. Wedding planner, yes, of course, we don't have to go to university and everything. But I think that the years of experience that we have, you know, we know what is good and what... And you know, it doesn't mean that you have to listen to me 100%, because I understand that you have certain, you know, things. We will listen to you. I always tell my couple that at the end of the day, when we are very proud is that when people don't even realize that you have a planner, because we do it so seamlessly. We are always behind the scene. Like, people don't even know who I am. You know, we are against the wall, but everything just runs. And people think that, wow, how did you manage to do a wedding so well? You know, we don't need the recognition. We don't want to be out there looking really like, wow, very busy.
Flustered, right?
That is not the point. You know, we are not supposed to be like that.
What are the areas, I mean, speaking of the budget again, what are the areas where it's most common for couples to burst their budget?
I think generally, I don't know, burst the budget. I think it
To
really...
go over, I mean...
I think it's hard to generalize, because I think everyone is different. We have couples that initially the gown was like just 5,000, but then it just adds on and on and on and on. Then of course you burst the budget, and then you have to minus off certain things. I remember telling my bride, one of my brides, I said, cannot, you burst the budget on that one, doesn't mean that you burst the budget on decor. The decor still remains the same.
I see.
So you know, it's
Okay.
difficult. Yeah.
So when it comes to really picking a planner, you know, how should brides look out for? Like, what type of planner should they be looking out for?
I think they need to meet a few planners. You know, I'd be very worried unless, let's say, I've done your brother's wedding, you know, or your sister's wedding, and you know me and you know that I'm the kind of planner you want. Yeah, so I feel that, you know, you need to maybe choose at least 3 planners, for example. You can choose 3 of the same category, like, you know, normally, you know, there's a few of us that are so-called the big planners. Then you can maybe choose a second, I wouldn't say a scale, but maybe a smaller planner that charges lesser and so forth.
So they should be looking at, like, talking to 3 planners from different teams.
So that you know what you need. You know?
So the range of services.
Yes, because usually what happens is that when before a client normally meets us, and I'm sure they do this the same for other planners, they will probably ask for package, like, you know, what is your package? So you have an idea what different planners charges, and there must be a reason why we charge differently.
Right.
You know, for those that charge differently, there must be a reason. You know, so then maybe you just meet like 3 different planners that charges differently, or you can meet 3 planners that charges about the same. You know, it's really up to you. And then you just, because I think at the end of the day, sometimes, especially when you're okay about spending the same amount of money with all these 3 planners, at the end of the day is how you feel that you are working with the planner. Because and you know, sometimes our client asks us, so what makes you different from planner A, planner B?
Yes.
I always tell them, I think that we all have different strengths and the way we communicate, I'm more like, for me, I just feel that a wedding is a wedding. Yes, it is. It has to be, it's a big deal, but I'm not a very official person. Like when I talk to you, it feels like I'm like a elder
friend
person or friend talking to you and all those things. I'm not very like, okay, you have to do A, B, C, D. I won't like put all these things out to you, like even questionnaires, all those things. I won't have like an official black and white, to you. But I remember everything. So it makes it feel a little bit more like, friendly, because it's a wedding, But there are other planners who are more corporate, so they have like list A, B, C, D, D. So, and if you like that kind, then that's good. And
it's really about the working style.
Exactly.
So when they meet the planner, they should be asking in terms of like not just the details, the working style.
Yeah, the working style. And for me, I always tell my client, for me, some planners, they would do like post-wedding wrap-up, they would do like monthly
updates.
Which I don't, because I feel that it's not necessary.
But some people who want it.
Yes, but it is not. For me, I think it's not important. I don't do it. And I don't meet them like every week. I don't think it's necessary. And I always tell my client that, you hire us mainly because you don't have time. So for you to meet us every week, that means that you have time then, so maybe you don't need us. So this kind of style. And I think that when we talk, when we communicate, they would know.
Some couples are a little bit wary of certain planners because they think that like planners would take a cut in the vendors that they recommend, right? So they'll be thinking, so how much are you taking?
Yes.
Are you really recommending the vendor because the vendor is the right one for me? Yeah.
Oh, so for us, Spellbound, we don't take commission. That is straight up. We don't take commission. In fact, any discounts that vendors that give to us, we will give to our couple. We find that it's very transparent. The only thing that I control in terms of costing would be the decor. And of course our planning. Other than that, like for videographer, photographer, gown, all those things, we do not wish to take a commission because, Peiru, at the end of the day, like I say, we charge what we charge. We are comfortable. To me, another commission of 100, 200 is nothing as compared to what we will charge you. That's how our charges are quite high.
Because you cover everything,
we
right?
cover
and
everything.
It's clear.
Yeah, and so, but we have a baseline so that we are unbiased.
Yes, some planners offer to negotiate for
I don't. I don't. I will tell my couple, I'm a planner. I'm not a negotiator. If I'm a negotiator, it's a different thing. It takes a different skill set.
So is it true that like planners can actually help couples save money, right?
I think it depends on planner. Actually, sometimes we have certain contacts with hotel. We can. Maybe not really negotiate, but there are things the hotel will do for us because they know that we know they can do. When they may tell the couple that they cannot do, but actually we know they can do. But I feel that if the first thing you ask me is that if you hire me and can I negotiate for you, then I think we're on the wrong foot already. Because then I feel that because we are planners, we are not negotiators. It is different. It's two different roles. So if a couple asks me, Anna, can you negotiate for us? Do you have special deals with hotels and so forth? Even if I have, I would tell you no. I can't promise you. I can try, but I will not promise you. Because from my experience, when we first started out, when we will try and everything, it doesn't end well because then a couple would expect more and more discount. Then I would have to press let's say the gown company. I will have to press the videographer. And at the end of the day, why do I want to do all that thing? I don't want to. I don't want to because it is, maybe it's just personality. I'm not that kind.
I think it's out of respect as well.
Yeah, out of the respect but obviously if the vendor overcharged my client, let's say if a vendor, videographer, just, a client paid them 10 hours and then they asked the client asked them to stay back maybe another 15 minutes or even 20 minutes. And then the videographer maybe charge a full amount, then I'm not happy. Then I think it's too much. Then I will speak to let's say for the gown company, if, my client spent 20,000, and then my bride may just need a small veil, a white normal veil. And then you charge my client $500. Then I think it's a bit too much.
Right. So
Then I would talk to them about it. Even if my bride don't talk to me about it, I would go and talk to the company and say that I think you're taking my client a little bit too much.